So yeah, last week, I think it was last Friday, when they were attempting to put the fence up in parking lot 625, and we went out there to stop it. It set a few different things in motion. Again, that is being done in an effort to both stop our unhoused brothers and sisters from going back there overnight, but also because the council office wants to take the weekend markets back there. And the kill from some folks has been, advocating to make that shit happen. And a concern for a lot of folks is that the other farmers market that was in the Flares Cleaner died, but even more so in this parking lot, you can't be seen back there. There's never been any event or any regular events back there to actually even gauge the success of what will happen back there. But for us more so, because now the council office saying they can't trust us, they can't trust me in specific, Billion. But my thing is, again, as we talk about black erasure, the state of what's happening to black people, the shit is happening because too many of our people make those backdoor deals and sell us out. And I've made it clear numerous times that's not what I want. With everything I've done in my lifetime, black people will advance. Black people will be, how you doing, sis? Will be empowered, and at no point can that truly continue as more of us continue to compromise. And that's what's happening right now, especially. I'm going to get into it even more, but that's what I could not do. When we talked to the council office about what they were doing, one of our primary concerns was what were they going to do with the unhoused brothers and sisters back there. And they had told us that they would house them. They would help those who were sleeping in their cars get mechanics to repair their cars, and others who were back there possibly sleeping with other folks, they would help them find housing. And none of that shit happened. For almost 2 weeks now, since they started towing cars, brothers and sisters have been left out there. Last week, we were able to raise funds for about a week to get a room that a few of them were able to share and have access to. But even as the incident happened last week, I personally was not able to continue to move that forward. And unfortunately, not enough other people have stepped up to assist in that area. So that was the primary shit that pissed me off. Again, we're talking about black power was good. Talking about repairing streets. We're talking about fixing fucking parking lots. But you got black people dying on these streets. And again, because it's mostly brothers back there, that's why most people don't give a fuck. We seeing through every dynamic of life, the black man is the most targeted and hated being on this planet. So the fact that there's black men in that parking lot suffering, a brother died right there on the street between Soul Folks and Hot and Cool. Now, how much of a fucking omen can that be? Is brothers over there talking about, I'm the one that saved Lamert, but you got people dying like right next to your fucking store. So that's some shit I cannot be a part of. If we're talking about ending black erasure, that's what I'm saying. You can't play both sides of the fence with this. And ultimately, you see which motherfuckers just talking that shit and positioning themselves to get fucking paid. So, right now, the council office, other folks mad, talking about they can't trust me. But the reality is, I'm very honorable with honorable ass people. But when I'm dealing with some backstabbing lying ass fucking snakes, I'm gonna play their game. And the bottom line is the council office is going to come correct and make the necessary investments in this community, or they're not just going to walk through. And I know right now, because I've heard twice since December, motherfuckers is trying to find folks to carry out violence against me. But we're in a serious state of reciprocity right now. And I guarantee you, whatever shit motherfuckers want to throw out there will bounce right the fuck back at all involved. And I'm talking about from immediate motherfuckers on the streets that's being put out front, the kind of lead this charge, to folks behind them and folks behind them. And I've already outlined clearly, you know, we understand who all these motherfuckers are. But, so yeah, because of that, like I was saying last week, the state of Juneteenth and other shit is most definitely suspended at this point, and possibly in their heads even revoked. But we most definitely will continue organizing for Juneteenth, for the people, and just making sure it's not this same commercial bullshit that they have been pushing it towards the past few years, bringing in all these gentrifiers, and we're going to get to them in a minute. But currently this morning, they had not moved forward with the fence, and we appreciate everybody that's been checking in, giving us updates on the status of the fence. But again, the vendors themselves and other community members would like to have the weekend markets temporarily relocated into the park. You know, back where it originated, back where it's still out in the open, back where there's a good environment, family can come, be on the grass, and, you know, it can continue with a more festive environment as opposed to being in a closed-in parking lot. So at this point, this week, the council office has not returned any calls or emails that have been sent to them because, again, you know, now they don't feel secure in their relationship with me or even Africa Town because, again, they thought we would be the same fucking puppets that they have put on the strings with all these merchants and everybody else who they got moving forward they dirty deeds, which, again, is to take over our community. So let's be clear about that because folks try to personalize this shit and say, oh, it's billion against that person, it's billion against this person. If you notice, over the past year, the council office have shifted their handler in the community. It went from Robert Salcedo to Tony Jolly. Now it's at Akil West. He's the current handler in the community to attempt to help the council office and these gentrifiers move their agenda forward. And before I go further into that, so right now there is a petition online we put up yesterday. If you have not yet signed it, you need to sign it, share it, and you know, help educate people on what's going on over there. Because again, a lot of times people looking out don't fully understand all the dynamics. It's like daily I'm having to break all this shit down to a whole lot of people. So they're hearing bits and pieces, or they're watching certain social medias and getting this idea, that idea, but it's the same scandalous shit that is happening to us again and again, which on one end has kept these white motherfuckers in power, and on the other end has kept our weakest motherfuckers sabotaging our true self-independence, advancement. Last Sunday, as far as the work in Africa Town, the construction workers actually did not work. Right now, they are still on the north side of 43rd Place on the west of Degnan. They've gone all the way down to Crenshaw, a huge open trench, but it's been kind of interesting seeing how they repair that shit. You know, just tear up the concrete, you know, level some shit out, pour the concrete back, and ta-da, is magic. I really wanted to see how they deal with the tree roots. I haven't had time to really stand out there and monitor that part yet, but currently that's where it's at. And last Sunday, it had no effect on the market whatsoever. So again, this bullshit the council office is selling that, oh, you know, we can't be out there while they're out there. The construction workers said themselves they could work around the market. And like they did last week, they taped the shit off, and people out there have enough sense to not fucking go over there and to watch children if they go in that direction. But again, as has been talked for years, to remove the vendors, remove the drummers, remove the true culture, we know that this push to get it into the parking lot, again, is an attempt to relocate the shit and have it die. So, I was saying how Akil is basically the new handler. So after the video last Friday, he did call me Saturday, and you know, we talked first time just for a few minutes. Second time he called back, and you know, he talked over an hour. You know, I just let him talk, got cleaned up and did shit I did while he was talking, checked the phone every so many minutes. But you know, he feels confident in his position as the broker to bring in all these gentrifiers. You know, he sells it, and they probably even sold it to him. He sold it to himself that he will be a owner in this shit. But in reality, he's actually helping to bring Wells Fargo into the community, which is one of the top 4 gentrifiers, financial institution gentrifiers in the nation. He's attempting to bring Chase into the community, which is also one of the top 4 financial institution gentrifiers, Citibank being a third, which is motherfuckers that took our home, and I forgot the 4th. But in addition to them, Akil is now saying he's talking to David Schwartzman, who is the white boy who they sold the mall to. They sabotaged the black people who had more money and sold it to this sadistic-ass white boy. And that's who Akil is probably now talking to. It just so happened I think it was Thursday when I went to Beverly Hills and did that photo shoot. Later that day, Akil had called Kevin. He was bragging that now, he's talking to Schwartzman. To him, that was a great thing. This white fucking gentrifier. But he was sharing how Schwartzman has plans to tear down the Albertsons. And, someone else told us possibly relocating it to the Macy's in the meantime or something like that. Because, again, Albertsons is the last grocery store in this immediate area along Crenshaw. The Rouse on Obama was taken out years ago. Last year they shut down the Rouse on Slauson. So right now, people in this immediate area, all they really have is Albertsons, because Albertsons is high. Folks is traveling to Rouse and other areas like the Rouse on La Brea and Obama, or the Rouse in Inglewood, or the Food for Less. But yeah, so, and again, I encourage folks to go talk to Akil, see what he has to say. But it was very clear to me as he talked, Akil's only about Akil. He don't give a fuck. He don't give a fuck about this community. He don't give a fuck about other people. And again, a lot of shit kept happening at his shop. People kept telling folks, he did this, he did that. That let us know he's a person that don't give a fuck. He can sell you. He has that gift. He could sell you what the fuck ever, but you have to be able to critically listen to what he's saying and realize this dude is in it for himself. On one end, he brags that he blocked downtown Crenshaw from purchasing that building. A black-led, predominantly black organization full of community members, a true community land trust, was about to buy the mall, but he stepped up because he couldn't get the type of ownership, individual ownership, that he alone wanted. All the other merchants on the block said, okay, they was with the deal, they'll go with it, but because he was threatening downtown Crenshaw, they moved forward, and he alone couldn't purchase the shit. They went ahead, out of respect, doing the community thing, and backed up. But now, because he didn't have the money, he runs to all these damn white gentrifiers to bring them into the fucking community. And again, like I was saying, before him, it was Tony for a second, but before Tony, it was Robert. And Robert, when he first came, expressed the same fucking plans. Robert was the first one that came over there saying that he wanted to tear down that building from soul folks to hide and cool and put up a mixed-use building and housing. So now it's been bounced all the way down, and Akil's pushing this same fucking agenda. Again, it's who the council office is helping to line up. Again, as the council office, they themselves are limited in what they can do, but they can put people in position, connect people with people who will move forward this fucking gentrifying agenda. So, saying all that to say, what do? And this is always the hard part for a lot of people, because once people emotionally bond to certain folks, once they start to idolize certain folks, they have what's known as cognitive dissonance, where they know is right, but now because somebody they're emotionally bonded with, attached to, within their minds, they justify it, or they run with the same justification the person doing the foul shit gives them. So we got to boycott. So folks, if we're going to fight to keep this community, we have to boycott soul folks. If Akil feels he's justified in stepping on people's toes, don't give a fuck about the effect of his actions has on our community. Because again, he's selling this shit as though he's going to have black ownership in it. But part of what happens in his plans is he plans on relocating the merchants over to the mall. And most of the merchants ain't trying to go to the mall. That's gentrification. It's not something they willingly want to do. So where he blocked downtown Crenshaw that could have secured their presence in Africa Town, he blocked that shit. And then he turns around and runs to these motherfucking white boys, gentrifiers, devils, to bring them in and have them help finance his plans, which will relocate those businesses. And another part of his plan, Akil always says, oh, you know, we got to stop art and practice because they won't even give full leases to Seek and all of them over there. So he says that on one end. But then on the other end, he says the development he wants to build will be dorm-like housing for this art campus art and practice wants to bring in. So again, if you're not really listening and paying attention and just allow motherfuckers to sell you that bullshit and don't question it, it's like on one end you're talking about art and practice is a threat to those other merchants, but yet you want to build a mixed-use building to accommodate art and practice. You know, something else I shared with him, that he's always talking about, oh, people need to be on his team. Nah. We're not with selling the fuck out. We're not with jumping in bed with these white motherfuckers to further gentrify our community. But he sells that, I told him, you know, the money he's looking to get from Wells Fargo, he says $2.5 million. First and foremost, they're not just giving no black man $2.5 million just because. You know, these are seasoned motherfuckers who for years have gentrified the black community. But again, history shows all throughout colonization, all throughout imperialism, they seek out people of color who they can turn against their own, usually narcissists, abusers, manipulators, con artists, and people who ultimately are looking for fucking handouts. So I explained to Akil, you're trying to get money from motherfuckers who stole money from this entire black community. So the money you're seeking from these white boys, you blocked the black people who had the money to come secure this shit, but in turn, you rather go use this money they've stolen from all these black homes that they destroyed. All these black families they destroyed. So now you can finance further gentrification. And again, he will only be the broker of this shit. Because these white boys have shown they have no long-term interest in being in business with black folks. And as this community becomes further and further white, just like I told these fucking politicians that didn't want to hear me, you know, we be talking, they get on their cell phone, they look the other way, roll their eyes and all that shit. But they ultimately were politicking to push themselves out of fucking office. Push our community out of office. Push our community out of our communities. And that's all Akil's ultimately doing. And Akil, last year when I talked to him, he already had looked at that and said, well, you know, I have a multi-year lease. And this is when it was talk of other people buying the building, before he was looking at getting a piece of the rock. He was like, well, I have a multi-year lease, so they're going to have to pay me. So again, his bottom line game plan is not fighting to help preserve this fucking community. It's to cash in on what he can to help accommodate the takeover of this fucking community. And again, something else people always say, oh, well, you know, gentrification is happening. There's nothing we could do to stop it. Yes, we can. That's what the fuck downtown Crenshaw has been providing. Black homeowners in the surrounding area who have gone into foreclosure, they've been bailing them out. And that's the exact same shit that was about to happen on Degnan had they bought that shit. But again, because Akil ego felt he wanted to have a greater stake in this, he sabotaged that shit. And now is attempting to close a deal that ultimately is going to push him and everybody the fuck out. So again, at this point, you know, dude refuses to respect the community. He's had employees who's put out complaints. He's had business partners that's put out complaints. He's consistently interfered with the affairs of the vendors. On King Day, him and Marcel were talking about only 20 of our regular vendors could be out there. So this is someone who consistently shows they don't give a fuck about the community. And a lot of folks say, oh, sit down and talk. And like I told them, I've talked to this dude a few times. A couple times he lied to me about shit. And that's when I'm no longer interested in talking to a grown-ass person. Any grown-ass person that has to lie, fuck that. You know, it's a difference between making mistakes, because, like, you know, he said one of the things I said last week wasn't correct. So I will be taking that video. I've already taken 2 videos down because somebody else said something else I said wasn't correct. And out of respect for the possibility that shit might not be correct, I will take those videos down, and if I find out I said some incorrect shit, I will correct it. But that's the difference between people who are confident in manipulating folks, who will keep selling people the motherfucking lie, basically to achieve what they want. So, just once again, so I can move forward, we're going to have to boycott or kill. And I know it's going to be a lot of folks like, oh, fuck that, I'm a supporter, whoopty wop. And this is the shit we, like, every liquor store we went to, people kept supporting them. The weed shop, motherfuckers kept supporting the shit. Walmart, you know, that shit took us years. But smaller businesses won't take that long, you know. I'll go into details, you know, as y'all connect with me, and possibly it won't have to escalate to an all-out grand closing. But, you know, we're going to have to show the brother that he's not bigger than community. Same thing with Wells Fargo and Chase and David Schwartzman. We're going to have to go to, actually, when I say we, that includes those of you who've been listening and putting your groups together. You're going to have to help us go to Wells Fargo, Chase Bank, and pull customers and redirect them to One United. And let them know we're doing this because we cannot allow their deal with a kill to go through and gentrify our motherfucking community. Because, again, he's selling this shit as though he's going to be owner, but he's the broker. When you're dealing with all these multi-billion-dollar devils, it's naive and foolish to think these motherfuckers are actually trying to give you money to have a stronghold in the community they're attempting to take over. That's insanity, but I know Akil's smarter than that. But that's what he will sell to get people to jump on board with the bullshit. So, yeah, and that's going to have to start, like, immediately, y'all. Online, going to their pages, talking to folks that you see commenting on there, especially if they look like black people, but right here in our community. You know, we did it a few years ago when we were trying to encourage people to pull out of Wells Fargo and Chase and Bank of America and all of that. We had a very successful transfer day, and that's what we're going to have to commit to again. You know, but this time, just those 2 banks specifically, and let them know they either pull out of coming into Africa Town, or we will push they fucking banks out of the community. And I think they will see the bigger picture. Same thing with David Schwartzman. I can't go into, you know, how we have to go about that online, but the motherfucker was in my stories last week plotting on me. I see you, white boy. Know what I'm saying? You the exact motherfucker I came to Beverly Hills to send that message to last week. So it was beautiful, whatever conversation you and Akil had that brought your stinking ass to my page and got up in my stories. Because like you plotting on me, I'm plotting on y'all. Bottom line. Know what I'm saying? We not playing with securing black LA. We not playing with keeping Africa Town. We're not the fucking Lamerts. All them Lamert motherfuckers, you could buy them off. But we're Africa Town. You can't buy this shit off. Black power. Over the past year, there's only been one motherfucking post taken off my page by Instagram. Like I said, last week I took down the first 2 videos I put out calling for people to come over to the park. Sister going off. And then today, once I finish this, I will take down the 3rd video of us actually being in the parking lot last week. Again, because of shit I said, and I haven't verified that it wasn't true. So, but I will do that. But the one post that Instagram took down over the past year was the one where I said fuck Chase and Wells Fargo, and they each need to invest $200 million in our community. Wasn't nothing other than fuck Chase, fuck, and how many people on social media say fuck? and there was no notification as to why they did it. They secretly took that fucking post down, y'all. And the reason I'm pointing that out is to overstand the significance of the role these institutions are playing in gentrifying our motherfucking community. I will call y'all back. Loved ones calling me. You know what I'm saying? If y'all know I'm on the live, I will call y'all back. But yeah, out of all the shit I done posted over the past year, that's the one motherfucking post they took down without even notifying. I just happened to notice that shit because it's still up on Facebook. And I went back to Instagram like, wait a minute. Had to go back to Facebook like, what? But that's how serious these motherfuckers got influence, and they don't want us to even think about what they really owe us. Because the $200,000 I put that they should reinvest in our community probably ain't nowhere near what they done fucking stole. But again, that's why I'm saying when they find people in our community that'll get excited, oh, they're giving me $2.5 million. Come on, y'all. That's why we're in the motherfucking condition we in, because even these individuals don't realize they sooner or later get fucked over. But again, what they do is they bring in a larger non-black community, and their respect of whatever value they have in their head will diminish amongst more non-black folks. But again, this is how when folks say, you know, it was blacks that sold other blacks, it was African that sold Africans into slavery. You know, it was black people that kept black people into slavery. This is the same fucking mentality of these motherfuckers selling out. Right now, sister going through some challenges, but she all right. As long as nobody don't fuck with her. You know, been hearing that people don't want to come to the village, you know, either just come or even the van because of all the politics that's going on. But again, y'all, that's part of the push out. Keep all of this chaos going to where you can't comfortably do it. I mean, all in all, throughout life right now, they're showing black people this shit ain't comfortable. We fell asleep between the 80s and 10 years ago. You know, the illusion of inclusion, that shit was comfortable, but now they showing us what all of our ancestors been experiencing, and many of us been experiencing within this fucking life. Ain't shit comfortable about this, saying all that to say, we gotta keep pushing for people to keep showing up. At the end of the day, that's how this shit's gonna survive. Both supporting the vendors, the merchants, but also as these motherfuckers continue to finance violence against me specifically and whoever else, because that's where this shit is going. That's the only way out right now. As they always do, to kill, to destroy, to plot, to scheme, assassinate. But like I said, right now, I know I'm not selling no motherfucking whoop tick, just like Muhammad Ali fucking knew which fights he was going to win and which rounds he was going to win. I'm telling y'all some shit that if I really try to start explaining this to y'all, folks would think I'm fucking crazy. But it's when you're spiritually enlightened, you're shown shit. And that's the primary reason there's been no fear in coming out here against these motherfuckers. Even whichever thing leads to my transition, because we all gonna make a transition. But again, it's how you live. It's what you do while you're on this earth. And those who do all the shady, backstabbing, corrupt, lying, sneaking, cheating, all that shit are the ones that continue to allow these devils to be empowered. But this generation we're in has been spiritually awoken. And we gonna get up out this shit, y'all. Just make sure, because they gonna be seeking out motherfuckers to buy off. Especially as more of you younger people start coming up front and they start identifying who you are, they're going to do their best to recruit you, seduce you, pay you the fuck off. And like I tell everybody else, take the fucking money, y'all, but don't turn against your people. Do you really want to live in a community, a world full of them motherfuckers? Take whatever motherfucking money you get. You be the spook who sat by the motherfucking door. Don't be like these old desperate ass niggas settling for these fucking crumbs, you know, because they waited too fucking late in their life to become official or to actually do some shit. So now they don't give a fucking, just selling the fuck out, you know. Rise up, young ones, loved ones. Juneteenth. So of course with shit like this, woo! You know, of course these motherfuckers, At this point, many don't want to have shit to do with me at Africatown, Daddy Road. What's good, loved ones? But like I said, we still organizing for Juneteenth. We're still going to do Juneteenth the way Juneteenth is supposed to be fucking done. I know between now and then, these motherfuckers very likely want to take me out because we're going to disrupt all the gentrifying attempts in Black LA, including Africatown. This bullshit with bringing these motherfuckers to take over Africatown, shit's going to be exciting between now and Juneteenth, but we are going to have a Juneteenth like never before, loved ones. Yesterday, March 8th, marked the 31st anniversary of the 91 Westwood Rebellion, the night that changed my life. But basically, Rodney King had got beat that Sunday. I believe it was March 3rd. That Friday, the movie New Jack City came out. We all went to Westwood to see it. After the theater got about halfway packed, they told about 150 or so of us we couldn't get in and come back Monday to get a refund. It was Friday, and you talking to some drunk teenage, young 20-something folks about come back, get their money. So, of course, you know, we started cutting up. They called in the UCLA police showed up, and they started backing us down. Then the young brother snapped, and he was like, y'all not about to do us like Rodney King. And another brother picked up a trash can, threw it at him, and they ran. And once they ran, it was on, you know. But yesterday did mark the 31st anniversary of that, and that was actually what preceded the 92 rebellion, because that happened March 8th. A week later, March 15th, is when Latasha Harlins got killed. And that is what really angered people that led up to the 92 rebellion. Folks was more angry about Latasha than Rodney King getting his ass beat. Them pigs getting found not guilty was the final straw of, you know, the trauma of both seeing Rodney get beat and the young sister get killed. But that's what set the 92 rebellion in motion, and it was some of the same folks I was out there in Westwood with in 91. If you watch a lot of the video from the 92 rebellion, especially what started on Normandy and Florence, some of those same people that was in Westwood in 91 set that shit off in 92. So it wasn't just, you know, it was, motherfuckers was on that shit for over a year that led to that. High-ass gas, everybody talking about gas. You know, this is most definitely another means to get us up out of here. A lot of folks are talking about, you know, they're going to park their cars and get a bike and different stuff. But whenever the gas goes up and is up for a amount of time, the fucking price of food goes up. The price of everything else goes up. So already, you know, many people having problems maintaining living in this city. This is going to further intensify that. But in addition, criminal activity, so-called criminal activity, is going to go up because all of this systemic shit they doing is the real crime. But how we react to it is how they attempt to criminalize and vilify us. But got to educate the young ones, loved ones. I know about 5 people who I'm connected to through social media, and then even some of our vendors and other folks who be in Africatown on Sundays are teachers. But right now, you really got to talk to your students and young people about what the fuck's really going on. You know, not just being on their head about not conforming to the system, but really finding out first where they are in life, how they feel, what they think about shit, but educating them about the shit that's going on in society, especially the traps being laid for them. Because as mom, dad, whoever they living with is struggling, frustrated because they can't pay the rent, they can't put food on the table, quite often those frustrations are taken out on the young people. And then the young people internalize that anger, trauma, and they go out and get caught up in some bullshit. So right now, this gas shit, as fucked up as it is for us individually to keep fueling our vehicles, the bigger picture is that this shit is going to lead to more predatory behavior amongst each other. So again, education is always one of the primary ways to combat that shit, but also supporting folks. You know, take in young people and families that you see struggling and get in the habit, and instead of, you know, tricking that money off at the movie. I think the movie's what, $20-$30 now. That $20-$30 could do some help for families in need. But again, you know, that's the primary solution to most of our shit. Being communal, not backstabbable, not fucking double crossal. Let's see. Again, like I was saying last week, there are no other people other than black people being erased. Black people, we are the only ones being erased, so stop always trying to attach other folks to what the fuck we are going through. Most of this just repeating a lot of what I said last week. But again, get into your teams, loved ones. It's time to get active. It's time to get active. We have been allowing folks to come in, take over our communities too comfortably. You know, we've been going to these meetings. Folks have been voting. We've been doing everything else other than